our teaching today as we prepare for the light and the glowing presence of our beloved Jesus on this triumphal day. Beloved Jesus, volume 36, number 26, June the 27th, 1993, out of the Easter retreat of 1993. And its title, It Is a Matter of Heart. And as he speaks to us through the teaching, he tells us that I summons my true healers, and he can only save us if we are one. And he starts off reading, I come to sit with you in glory, and the glory that shines forth from your I am presence. And he tells us that some of us bask in the radiance of the presence, while other mirrors the sometimes stagnant pool of identity, which is from beneath, but that it does not represent our real and true self. And the soul reflects the inner image. As we stand with God this day, as he has given us the opportunity to be in his presence, as we show our gratification and our exaltation for him telling us that he's coming to sit with us in this hour, to sit through this service and be a part of our being. We give thanks for that light. And as the Almighty says, some of us bask in the radiance of his presence when he's with us. And sometime the stagnant pool, when we decide that we don't want to move any further or can't move any further or can't decide to move any further, there's an opportunity that we have that the Almighty do not want us to reflect what is below, but reflect on what is going forward above. What's happening in your life as God gives you the opportunity to walk this day in his presence. And as he come and sit with us, we should be gratified that that light is being amplified within our being. Because that stagnant pool that he's speaking about, that without an inflow of the light that they pour forth into our hearts each and every day, we wouldn't have any outflow that we are able to give to anyone. We wouldn't have any teaching, any light, any love that we could spread around and share with anyone, because God gives it to us each and every day as he touches us with that finger of love and said, okay, it's time to rise up. Do what you know to do best. Be the Christ. Be that light. Be the love and guidance. Because the stagnant pool, he tells us, may not be recognized by you who call yourself disciples on the path. And why not? Because some, he's saying, do just enough to keep their foot in the door of beloved Maitreya Mystery School. So if you're doing what you should have to do, that stagnant pool will not be any longer. But some do just enough to stay there so we can say, well, okay, I got the teaching, I'm dealing with it. Father, I get to it in a minute or tomorrow. So that those are the possibilities of things that's happened. And it tells us that we have blocked the flow, the stream of the sacred fire water that's descending, that the Father is sending forth to us each and every day. And we ask, how do we block that flow? Number one, by not keeping our consciousness raised to the Almighty, not raised to the high central righteousness, not listening to that still small voice as it speaks to us each and every day to get up and get moving. I have to be the first one to admit I'm guilty of it. But the good thing is that you have the opportunity for another day to step forward and be that part. And it goes on, it says, the self-concern of the stagnant pool is a toxic substance. Toxic because if not daily flushed into the violet flame, the stagnant pool cannot be carried away by the tributaries of love, distributing and descending waters of life to so many that's in need. So this light that he's given us is not only for our being, but it's for each and every one that's out there. That's more than what we know, I should say, because each and every one, even based on all the teaching that's going back further and further. And in the teaching here, it tells us some 2,000 years ago, the teaching that was written, we are receiving those teaching. And he asked us, said, well, okay, what's going to happen? If we don't rise up and follow that teaching and the listening and be the listening device for what's happening in days coming, because there's people that's coming behind us, even that's here with us, that needs that teaching. So it asked us also to step up and step forward, even as far as a group, being able to shed forth that teaching and that light, not to just be a part of the teaching ourselves here, but reaching out to each and every one that needs that light and that guidance. So God has given us that opportunity each and every day. So it's up to us, because we do have free will. What do we do with it? And it goes on, it says, when you cease to give forth that what you have received, then this is what happened. The stream backs up. And so you receive less and less until the great waters of the tree of life descending becomes but a trickle. So whatever you're receiving, if you don't give forth that light and share it and keep it flowing to each and every one, your stream becomes now a trickle. The light is being less and less coming into your flow of being. So now you're not receiving what it would be that if you stayed there and gave what you had to give. It's like you're turning the faucet down and you look at the trickle getting smaller and smaller. So that light that we're receiving, if we're not doing what the master has given us, is getting smaller. And then disease sets in and life turns in upon itself. And these streams seems to be no purpose in living and no real usefulness in dying. And even the joy of path of walking in the footsteps of my Lord Maitreya becomes a humdrum affair where you seek only to perform the minimum spiritual requirement, only that which is necessary to keep one foot in the door of Maitreya Mystery School. And otherwise you seek to find some titillation for the senses. In other words, just enough to make sure of what's going on in your life, to make sure, I mean, you're taking care of yourself, but we're forgetting about the thousands that's falling behind us. So that is the path that we have to be on. We have to be able to know what's happening. Maitreya has his mystery school here on planet Terra, but are we doing enough to stay in? Are we doing enough to be able to reach back and pass the teaching on to each and every one that needs it, that's walking, that's coming behind us? For it is as though you need some surcease from the glare of your own God reality, or release from the rigors of the path that can lead to the summit being in your life. In other words, cease from doing what you're doing. Understand, Jesus says, understand the dangers of the path. And hear the simple poem that the messenger read to you, and that the days are filled and the lifetimes are filled from morning till night, from the rising to the setting sun, and with the joyous service in the Lord. For much, much light descending must purify that which is gone forth before the stream made putrid by putrid thoughts and feeling can be eradicated. So there's a lot of decreeing that's going to have to go forth. There's a lot of prayers and calls that's going to have to go forth before you can clear up all of the putrid thoughts and things that's happening in your life, in my life. So God has given us that opportunity and wants you to be aware of what's happening. Therefore, beloved, there's a point of joy. There's a point of laughter in every day. And I speak to you of the joy and laughter of you who are my disciples. And I have known you and shepherded you in my own heart as we have gathered over the centuries. Not only 144 and then 70 and then 144,000. And who among you can truly count who are the true Cheelahs, ripened and ready to be plucked from the vine? None of us can. Only the master is keeping record. They know what's happening in our lifetime. They know what's happening in our beings as of right now. Beloved heart, I do speak to all of you who would return to the tree of life of Maitreya Mystery School. You may be at Maitreya Mystery School physically and in the physical octave, but you may no longer be here in spirit or in a desire to increase a mighty ring on your tree of life by the mighty service to life. Perhaps you do not even desire to give my mantras in your heart that you may know the way of kindness. So what is our beloved Jesus saying to us? What are we doing? You know, if we don't have that desire and wants to do and keep that light flowing, it will get shut down. And we do everything through the kindness of heart. As Jesus and Maitreya shares with us, it tells us kindness, I have told the messenger, is truly, truly the path of conviction. That in the heart of Maitreya and in the heart of myself, kindness is a perfume that suffuses all things. So in other words, kindness that you give to each and every one, give that smile that you might give to the person that you're passing. You might stand and open the door and hold the door for someone coming behind you. That is a kindness that you can show forth. Then people understand and they'll know what love is. They can see love in your presence of how you present yourself, how you walk, how you talk, what you speak, and how you're doing. They don't have to know you per se, but they can see through your action that beloved Maitreya and Jesus and your parents, which they put in charge of us, has well raised us and kept us grounded in that. And it tells us kindness, I've told the messenger, is truly the path of conviction. That in the heart of Maitreya and in the heart of myself, kindness is that perfume. Kindness is an action that act. It is a word that speak. It is a heart that keeps the visual. And it is a holding of the balance of the hour, whereby because you are kindness and fulfilling all kindness, you have room to spare, to give of yourself repeatedly. For this is the joy of the mighty river of life descending. This is the flow of Almighty God descending through you. That way they'll know who sent you. You will understand why your presence is needed. And Jesus says, I am at once your Jesus and my Father Maitreya, for I and my Father are one. You cannot meet me without meeting my Father. And so I would have it be said of you that none can meet you without meeting me, without meeting your grandfather, Maitreya. Yes, beloved, can we not be one upon one in the chain of hierarchy? As little carved men, one upon the other, that becomes a tower of power, reinforcing the Cheelahs in every octave. Is this not the sign and symbol of the chain of the Guru Cheelah relationship? So as we following the Father, they are telling us that they are not only one, but we are a part of that chain. We are that link that ties into all the things that they're giving us and giving us the opportunity to walk and be. So we have to continue on that path with our beloved Jesus and Maitreya. Even there do proceed from those greater God mastery. And then we come to the place of our appearing, our glorious appearing through you. And he asks us, who does see you? in other words, who does see them? I'm sorry. Who does see Jesus? Who does see Maitreya? They only see them through us. They see them through our action, through our guidance, through the teaching that they are sharing with us and that light. And he tells us those who can see us through you, yet none can see us or know us, save they sing. So this light that they are talking about, this singing, is that love that's within your heart. When you can sing forth that love of Jesus, of Maitreya, those calls and reach out to each and every one, you're sending forth that light and that wisdom. So they know that Jesus and Maitreya have shared with you and given you that teaching and that wisdom and light. So they see you through them, as we have always heard from anyone that you meet that knows your parent. They know you through them, because the first thing they would tell you is that we know that you are doing, you know, who your parents are because of how you carry yourself, how you present yourself. So this is the same teaching that you're reading through the spiritual. Remember that, beloved, and give yourself to God and to be a clear plane of glass through which you can look and see the Lord and see me as I am, not in painting or in posture that does not resemble me one iota, but are the sympathetic trapping of those who weep or mourn at the base of the cross, not understanding the glory of the crucifixion itself, the glory of the very process, beloved, where one can bequeath to a world the essence of oneself. Therefore, I did proclaim upon the cross that lo, I am Omega, the beginning and the ending, and many other sayings that is not recorded, save the affirmation that it is finished. And as the affirmation of my being in God, and this prayer you do have, thanks to the receptivity of our beloved messenger, Mark Prophet, whose profound love for me opened the channels, and that allowed me to hear the recording out of the Akasha record of my own voice pronouncing my soul triumph on the cross. So these are the things we have heard of, how the scientists go in and they go through the Akasha record, and they're able to go back and date when the world was born. Well, Jesus is saying the same is going here. Our beloved Mark was able to receive those teachings through that guidance and that light, through the Akasha records of his voice pronouncing of his soul triumphant on the cross. Well, being the beginning and the ending, beloved, I am the mighty circle of the Tai Chi within the crest's tail, and I am a spherical body of manifestation of original cause. And I am that I am, the one who transcended that known causal body and entered the unknown source, the unformed, the unsoft, and that which is beyond the mighty tree of life and the 10 Sephirot. Come to understand then that upon your tree of life, there be 7 chakras plus 1. Then there are the 10 Sephirot. The 10 Sephirot denote that which are 10 chakras. For if you will add the 7 to the hand, and then the 2 of the feet as 1, and then celebrate the 8 ray chakras and the uncharted Sephirot dyad, and you will have the 10 plus 1. This 1 represents the secret chamber of the heart, the place of love's dazzling light. Only the threefold flames centered in the dyad can consume the abyss of ignorance. Know, beloved, that your tree of life is built, is sealed, is sanctified and certified as you meditate upon the name and the vibration of the meaning of the 10 Sephirot, as you realize that they are intended to be the fruit on the branches of your tree of life, the fruit of God consciousness, and the aspect necessary to the lower and the unformed into the form, that their form might descend and that tree might appear. that the Tiferet in the center might be known as the Christ, and that the Christ may no longer be rejected by another. Go here, go there, we are told. Thus you will hear the people proclaiming the coming Messiah. What Messiah? Jesus asked. We might say, why the Messiah is the Christ of me and the Christ of you, and the only begotten Son of the Father, Mother God. And yet, unless you open your breath and show your sacred heart, that your sacred heart might be the target of Antichrist, do you truly walk in my footstep on Good Friday? So what we receive here is the understanding that unless we show our heart, unless we show our love, no one can really say anything about you or to you until they understand where your wisdom is coming from. Because then that's when the attack of things comes, if they are not in agreement with the light that you're proposing or the wisdom that God is giving you to shine forth. So it tells you, don't be afraid. Be not afraid to know the pain that allows you to enter the bliss of nirvana and the total oneness with your God. This is not your desire, beloved. And he says, yes. Thanks that the deep desiring of your soul, your innermost being, if you desire to be in God and to embrace and be a part of that great tree of life, so that the birds of the air, meaning the winged orb consciousness of God, that rest in your branches in consciousness actually become a part of you. If you really desire to be of this and more, beloved one, then you must surely conclude from this equation of being and anti-being, that if you are to realize your highest imagining of self in God, something must go. On this side of the equation, something must go. And that something is the anti-being. But you will look again and you will see that the Lord God has not and does not and will never deprive you of anything that is necessary to your spiritual, eternal joy, as above, so below. Only you can deprive yourselves of the joy by free will and by the karma made. All things that you need, beloved, come to you by your recitation each day of the Lord's Prayer. The Lord, I am prayer. This prayer is a declaration of the Father, love for you and your love for the Father. This Lord's Prayer is a prayer whereby you achieve the bonding in your Guru Chela relationship with me and Maitreya and other of the ascended hosts. Therefore, let's recite this together. If you have it in your, I think you have it in your handout. I'm sorry, your matrix. Okay. So we will, if you be so kind and turn to your matrix with me as we recite it together, as we recite the I am Lord's Prayer. And it reads together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, I am. I am thy kingdom come. I am thy will being done. I am on earth, even as I am in heaven. I am giving this day daily bread to all. I am forgiving all life this day, even as I am also all life forgiving me. I am leading all men away from temptation. I am delivering all men from every evil condition. I am the kingdom. I am the power. I am the glory of God in eternal, immortal manifestation. All this I am. And our beloved Jesus said, this is your alchemical formula for the precipitation of your tree of life, your goal in life, your pyramid in life. Do you not see that your Father has guaranteed to you the kingdom, the power, and the glory? As we read this each and every day, as God has given us this opportunity to follow through on what the masters are sharing with us, that love might resonate and rise up, that we know where the kingdom is that's within us, that we know where the kingdom resides each and every day. It tells us that the kingdom is the consciousness of the totality of your being in God. The kingdom, beloved, is God consciousness where you are, the full power of God that comes upon you and is the empowerment of your mighty I am presence. When you experience and when you seriously embrace the path is difficult, yet not too difficult for anyone. Hard, but not too hard. Yes, beloved, the glory of God is the ring upon ring of your causal body that descend upon you when you live the I am Lord's Prayer. We are told that when you find the key to my heart, says Jesus, in this prayer and many other prayers, that were dictated by the ascended host through Mark prophet, you will come to understand, beloved, that you can fulfill all of your goals: human, material, physical, spiritual, mental, and psychological. Yes, you can fulfill all of these goals and at the same time retain what you are in God and not lose one iota of your spirituality or your inner attainment. And then the talent of your God mastery will descend from your causal body in this life when you are ready to receive them and when you have balanced certain karmas that you made since you had that attainment of light in ages past and applied it to many good works. Yes, beloved, if you try to do all things by yourself, you will find it simply impossible. For the word is written, and it cannot be broken. With God, all things are possible, but with man, nothing is possible. Therefore, commend yourself to God and to the glorification of God in all your works. For your mighty I am presence stand waiting to glorify you. So use all the power at your disposal to glory of God, and he will empower you. So use all of the elements of the kingdom, the consciousness of God, and all the resources, technology, and knowledge to bring about the kingdom here below as above. And you will know the glorification of God's because you have done it to his glory and not to your own. It is a matter, beloved, it is a matter of heart. It is a matter of heart. It is a matter of heart. And Jesus said, I say it repeatedly and again, if you only knew what you were doing to your heart when you eat the strong meat that is acidic and that pollutes not only the heart and the bloodstream, but also the temperament, so that you do not have the tenderness of heart, the humility of heart, the mindfulness of heart, the memory of heart that are native to your real self. And as a result, you do not have the heart for the path, for the mission. So based on what he's sharing with us and with that light is not only what's happening as far as what you're putting into your system, but you also have to watch what it is that being put into your heart, what's being put into your brain, the things that you are hearing, the things that you might be receiving. God gives us that opportunity to be able to differentiate between all the different things that is not of the light. He wants you to know to follow your heart. Let your heart be your guide. That's what our teaching is on today, is it is a matter of heart. Because as we're reading here, the different thing, the acidic meat, what it does to your system, it breaks it down. You know, at one time they used to have you to put, when the meat was deemed to be too tough, they would have you to put the meat tenderizer on it. But once they found out that once putting meat tenderizer on it, they had to stop putting tenderizer on it, because not only was it tenderizing the meat, but it was tenderizing your insides. So these are the things that's happening. You have to be mindful of what's going on, what you're receiving, what God, what's going on out in the world, and then you're receiving it into your soul. It messes up the light, the balance of your flow that is already there. And then because the quality of heart that is needed for you to keep pace with Maitreya Bodhisattva is wanting you to set up roadblocks. You give yourself in Maitreya impossible ultimatum. You set limits to your chilaship that dooms you to failure. You say, unless thus and thus and thus happen to me, I will quit the path. I will quit this place. Unless I get this, this, and this, and this is what I will do. Well, beloved one, there's no such thing as unconditional love on the part of the ascended masters for the children of earth, for this would be an impossibility, since to love a man is to love his character and his action. We would have to love those with murderous intent, those who are the darkness of the left-handed path, who love not the light, for their deeds are evil. We would have to love man's infamy against man, and to love a brother who slay brothers. Just as Cain was rejected by Lord Maitreya for his sin, so he would have been accepted had his offering been acceptable. Nevertheless, to love the point of light within the heart, the point of light that is God, is to love the seed potential. Yet if man himself love not his potential for being in God, he will not bear the fruit of God's consciousness. Wherefore Jesus cursed the barren fig tree, and John the Baptist laid an axe to the root of the evil fruit, saying, every tree which bringeth forth not good fruit is hewed down into the fire. As we read and understand, even Jesus, as he cursed the barren fig tree and that did not produce any fruit. So the same thing that will happen in our lifetime. If you are not bearing fruit that God is giving you each and every day in order to go forward, what good are we? As it says, and it told us early on, it's not even worth dying. In some sense, it's not even living, because you are not doing the work that God has put us here to do. That's the reason that Jesus condemned the fig tree. Sometimes we wonder about it. If it's not bringing forth fruit, it's just sitting there to be seen. Thus, unless a man confirm and be productive with the gift of God identity, he will lose it. So if you're not productive with that gift, you will lose what gift that you was given. And man without God's self-awareness is but a flesh and blood robot who has no capacity for divine love, neither to receive it nor give it. All he is capable of is the ebbs and flows of human sympathy. Beloved heart, there must need be, however, unconditional love on your part of God and for the spiritual hierarchy of life sent by God to govern and teach the root race of earth. And this involves trust. For you to give unconditional love to God and his hierarchy, you must extend trust at times to an unknown God and an unknown guru. Indeed, you can trust God and hereby in the hierarchy of life, even to entrust them with all of your love, all of your heart, and all of your service. Is this not where everything begins and ends? Is it not in the point of trust? We remind you once again that we are not your human parents, says Jesus. We are not your human sibling. We are not the cause of your fractured and fragmented psychology. You are the cause of it yourself. And the longer you hang on to it, the longer it will stick to you like taffy. And as you lick your fingers and eat some more, it will stick some more. Yes, beloved, it is time to say, I trust God, and to reinforce that trust daily, no matter what you see coming your way, that would lead you to believe the contrary. For what you will see is your own karma tumbling down to tempt you, to test you, and to make you think that God's wrath is upon you, when it is your own wrath that you have delivered to another, that is coming full circle according to the mathematical exactitude of the law of karma. It is then that is well to remember that you have a right to be tested. We have a right to test you, says Jesus. Yes, you have heard it before, and we say it again. For sometime we must make up nursery rhymes using such phrases that you might learn and repeat them and sing them to yourself. For some of you may manage to arrive at a place on the path where you say, I am no longer the one being tested. I am doing the testing. I am testing El Moria. I am testing the masters. I am testing the messenger. And I am going to see whether I approve of what is going on in this place. Well, beloved heart, it is about time that you come to reckoning of just what is the dark cycle and just how it changes your life and lifestyle. Oh, you have heard it, and you've heard it repeatedly. And some of you would rather not hear the dictation, hear another dictation in which it is mentioned. And yet it must be mentioned because it is surely come to be your undoing. If you do not raise yourselves to the level of your holy Christ self and understand that in the mantle and in the Christ consciousness of your own being, you must give more decrees affirming and calling forth the violet flame, because the dark cycle is upon the evolution of the earth and the earth body itself of all elemental life. The equation of the weight of the returning planetary karma has changed drastically. You must run faster and faster on this treadmill of life, just to run in place and to stay in place. But many of you, in fact, of an alarming number of keepers of the flame, are practicing denial when it comes to the dark cycle while you are drifting away from the path because you are being overtaken by the effluvia of world karma. That is what happened when the karma of the ages descend, specifically 25,800 years of karma. And that is why major changes take place upon the planetary home as civilization responds to that karma. And as cataclysm participates, something reducing overnight the population of a world, such as this 1/10 of what it was. The dark cycles are consuming, and there's only one solution. That dark night must be lit by the candles of flames from your heart chakras, by 10,000 keepers of the flame. You must understand, beloved, that to allow and desire the destiny of other situation and condition, to lure yourself away from the altar of God, wherever you have erected that altar, is the most dangerous action or the incarnation that you can take. As the beloved Jesus has told us, it takes the Chelas, it takes us, the keepers of the flame, to continuously ignite that light in order to erase all of the putrid things that are happening through with the violet flame, that we are able to be blessed with that light, that teaching that we have been given to use that to erase that. And he goes on and saying, you will take a special note that unless you specifically ask, again, you will receive no advice from the ascended masters through the messenger or from the messenger herself. For we respect free will. We respect free will action, and that is the end of the matter. Therefore, we have set up the mystery school because it is necessary. It is necessary to have a place that is physical and tied to the etheric and the higher octave, where it is truly yet possible for individuals to follow a path and a spiritual discipline that will lead to their soul's ascension in this life, a place where no sincere heart who is able and willing to keep our discipline will be denied. Now that is key. A place where no sincere heart is able and willing to keep his discipline will be denied. So through saying that, we have an opportunity. Where would there be Why would there be retreats on the face of the earth if the individual could make his ascension from anywhere? If he could achieve the goal or the path of attainment from anywhere on the face of the globe, where there would be no reason to have Maitreya Mystery School, if the ascension could happen so easily at the choosing and whims of the individual who will say, I do not like it here. I like it better over there. And so I will build my little house over there, and I will make my ascension from my little house. Beloved heart, the flame of the Ark of the Covenant that burns upon the altar of my church to merge with your flame, and body to do the work of the transforming by the spiritual alchemy, every cell of your flesh and blood, that ultimate transformation. It does take the concentration, not alone of devotees, but of angels who make their daily round to consecrate and purify this place of worship. And it does take the ascended masters of the entire spirit of the Great White Brotherhood to secure a stronghold of light, such as a retreat, where it is indeed possible to make the physical ascension or the soul to ascend at inner level. And the ascension, after all, is the goal of life for every life stream on earth. But who would want to ascend from before doing all the things that are necessary to the realization of the one divine plan, those things that are joyous, that contribute to the building of the self and of the building of one's character, the building of one causal body on earth as it is in heaven. I tell you, beloved, one very few would like to make that ascension without having done everything that they could possibly do to make this world a better place. And first and foremost, the best thing you can do to make this world a better place is to rise up, focus of the Summit Lighthouse in your town. Raise up a focus of the Summit Lighthouse in your town. Wherever 2 or 3 are gathered in my name and in the name of Maitreya, and to visualize that beacon of pathway that leads all home to the almighty I am present. Then gives your call to El Morya on the 4th of the month, 24 hours, and you will see that your group is running a decree marathon on that day, and that you are giving every urge of energy and strength and breath you have to your beloved El Morya. For you do not realize what El Morya can do for you in return. That will take him far less time and entanglement in the human consciousness to accomplish that it would take you. We are just as anxious. We're just as anxious as you are to get on with the next day, the glory and the expansion of his path, and the teaching and the rise in the number and equality of light bearers, and the increase of those on the earth who are aware of their mighty I am presence, and will take the book so carefully written by the masters and the messenger and read them, and truly walk in my footstep and enter the heart of Lord Maitreya and Gautama Buddha, and make their ascension in life. For the ascension is the power and the empowerment to raise consciousness by the entire planetary body. And at no time in the history of the planet Earth, since the last days of Atlantis, has Earth so needed, have Earth people so needed an injection of the cosmic Christ consciousness to make them wake up. Beloved one, wake up to the darkness of the death and hell that they have allowed into their midst through the dissonant sound of what passes from music through harmful drug and through the purveying of all manner of philosophies that are not leading the peoples to life, but to death and hell, blessed one. This is a time when you may need an influx of light in their being. Well, I tell you, we are most happy to see you remain in embodiment, even after you have earned your ascension and the right to take it. We're happy to see you defer that ascension to walk the earth with an aura of purity, that people of all kind may see and recognize the aura, recognize the ascension flame around you, and recognize the violet flame, and therefore ask, where may I go to get to that place on earth? What is the formula fount? Where is the fount of knowledge? Where is the fount of light? Where is the fount I've been looking for that was once in the great temple of Atlantis and is no more? I seek it. I would find it again. So the fable of the fount of eternal joy that was taught by Ponce de Leon goes back to Atlantis. And that fountain of youth was a fountain of sacred fire, light, that was there for all of Atlantis to see and use until those who were the fallen ones turned and their youth aside from the inner walk with God, and they had once placed and loved, and the fountain was withdrawn, lest those of left-handed path should use it to obtain longevity beyond their karmic allotment. And I must tell you that when I think back upon those days, I hang my head and I weep because of the parents and the teachers did not take up spiritual arms, nor rods of sacred fire, nor action of the spoken word to defer their children against their enemies, the fallen angels. So desiring to be popular both with and trendsetting, fallen angels and with their children, they sided with the both and walked in their way, just as parents today imitate the fads of their children. Instead of setting a high standard and enforcing it, we find it all the time. You see it all the time, how parents go along with the children. I mean, sometimes everyone weighs it out and they want to call it, excuse the expression of it, but I'm sure you'll read it. They call it ghettoish. In other words, this is how things happen in the ghetto part of things. But it's a fad that children pick up on. And I think that sometime it kind of goes that the one that's not as, I guess the expression is well off as the next one, they might trend to go back to this. And sometimes it's not that the parents can't do any better, but it's just that they want to give their children and let them have that free will. And sometimes that free will kind of reigns back into the idea, as they're saying, to where it's not presentable in this lifetime. You want your children to always have more and go forward. And this is what the masters are telling us, that they want, you want your children to move forward. You want them to have a better life. Don't sit back and go backwards, but go forward. And therefore the spoiled children of Atlantis, as they say, have come again. And it says, I can name not a few parents I know who in this life have not even considered whether their action taken about the discipline of their children's soul results in their children liking them or not. It is the last thing on their mind. They have determined that these children should be brought up in the way that they should go. Never mind the whimpering and the whining. Beloved ones, I would desire to be that father in every household on earth. And instead, I speak of the father of this community and all the world who feel the pulsation of my heart at inner levels. Fathers of the world, everyone, rise up and raise the sacred fire of the Kundalini. Come into your own discipleship unto me, for I will teach you the path of fatherhood. I will teach you the path of being the head of your household and being that one who does stand by your wife and the mother of your child. I will teach you how to take command of your schoolhouse and how to take command of the mind of your children. And I will teach the mother and your wives how to enter this process. Look to me for guidance and understand that is taught today of value, incredible good for your children. but there is nothing that can replace the divine example. There's nothing that can replace the example of right action, right livelihood, the example of piety, honor, the joy of the heart that is right within me, the example of working and plan with your children and teaching them. There's nothing that can replace those 15 minutes a day when the entire family prays together. And since you're on the path and student of the teaching, I suggest you use beloved Kuthumi's mantra, I am light decree. Use that mantra following the I am Lord's Prayer and the few others such as the heart, head, and hand decree. But do not allow your family to go beyond the 24-hour cycle without 15 minutes of family prayer. Set the time and respect it. I have seen Catholics, Muslim, Jews, Hindus, Buddhists all over the world who have not the knowledge of the violet flame or the spiritual path of the ascended masters. Yet I have seen them more devout and more eager in the ritual of prayer day by day with their children than I see some of the keepers of the flame. I tell you, parents, it does not matter, and the great law will not excuse you simply because you have fragmented background and childhood that were unpleasant. You cannot be self-absorbed 100% of the time with your inner child. You must be absorbed in raising up your children and the soul of your children who have been neglected by the fragmented adult. And if I have anything to say about it, I, as your Lord and Master Jesus Christ, will say it now. Therefore, I say to you, O inner adult, formed by parents of yore, who were formed by their parents before them, rise up now and be healed. For I, Jesus, the Nazarene, come to heal you. Father and mother, I come to heal your inner adult who ought to be one with your Holy Christ self. And I come to hear your inner Christ, who ought to be following your inner adult to wholeness. Take me up on this and take up Lord Krishna, who has promised you that when you call to him to heal you of the record of your having been bruised or broken at any age, he will come to you in his electronic presence, and he will place that presence over you, being of the same age as you were, injured psychologically or otherwise, and your giving of his mantra, he will bring about that healing. Therefore, I have pledged, Krishna has pledged, and when I, the Lord Jesus Christ, pledge, I have the entire lineage behind me of Lord Maitreya, Gautama Buddha, Sanakumara, and the Father, Mother God, and the great central sun, and all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who share the wavelength of each of the position of the masters I have named. Thus, beloved, you have but to call to one of us or call to all of us, but call the name of Jesus Christ and accept me as the Lord and Savior of your inner Christ, inner child, and your inner adult, and your inner being, that you may get on with your living, your life in full joy of my Christhood and your Christhood, and thus contribute positively to the lives of your children and your families. And if you are blessed not to have problem relating to the development of the psyche in your family, then I say reach out to the children in your area through scouting, sport, 4-H club, and other activities that bring about the creativities of children of all ages. Yes, reach out. Work with adults and children beyond this community, in the neighborhood where you live, and see to it that you as parents spend that wonderful time with your children, which they so enjoy. This can be the activities such as competitive sport, gardening, cooking, sewing, or drama, music and art, and all these and more your hearts are bonding together. Reach out and teach others what to do best. Give of your talent and multiply in this and past lifetime. Deliver them on the altar of God's to the glory of God, and then to increase of your own attainment, making yourself, therefore, day by day available to make exciting contribution to the talent pool of the spiritual community worldwide. Blessed heart, I appeal to you in this hour, not to get stuck in your own psychology once you have seen it for what it is. Do not descend to the level of weeping, level of sorrows, level of indulgence, and revolving and revolving and revolving and revolving, the cause and core of your psychological health. Many things may have happened to you, whether through your parents or anyone in the world that may have stepped on your toes. Blessed one, you encounter these things, the situation, all the time. When you feel bruised and battered, but you are bigger and better than all the negative experience you have had in your entire lifetime, in many lifetimes. And beyond that, you have karma. You brought that karma with you, and you must take full responsibility for it and not blame the way that you have turned out on your parents or anyone else. Just call in my name that I might assist you in recreating yourself in the image and likeness of the cosmic Christ Maitreya. And remember, if you're not dealing with karma, then you are being tested by the archangel, or you are being initiated by the highest initiate of the ascended hierarchy of the Great White Brotherhood. Therefore, no matter what happened, meet life as a conqueror, meet life as a victor, and simply be kind. Simply be kind. Do not open your mouth unless you intend that what comes out of it is kindness, that is uplifting and supportive of the person that you are with. As our beloved masters have shared with us and given us the opportunity to come and walk forward in the light, that is all due to our hearts. And we give thanks that he's been able to share with us and walk us down the path and guide us. And as our beloved Jesus has shared with us and given us that understanding, that light that he has shared, that he only if we do what we are supposed to do, can they do what they are supposed to do. As Maitreya, as beloved Gautama Buddha, and all the different teaching that has gone forth and given us this wisdom that we read in our teaching today, that as they shared with us about, when we are walking with them, sometime, you think about the speech of the story of the ugly duckling, how the swan was raised up with a family of duckling, and then he found out that he was not a duck, but he was a swan. But they put us in the same pattern of saying, well, okay, guess what? Simply because, we are dealing with the part of being, ducks with swans. So they put us in the pattern of saying, well, okay, if we are a duck and they are the swan, but we are walking with them, sometimes we feel and get into the pattern, and the idea of it is that we are swans. But that's because we have dealt with them and worked with that teaching. So we're able to move around in that. But they want us to know to keep focused on where we are and where we are going. So in this light, as Jesus has shared with us, that he can only guide us and direct us and be there for us and help us out if we follow through on what it is that's happening. And as we give thanks for that and praise that we have kind of exhausted through with our teaching and the wisdom of it in sharing and going forward. But there's a lot more that you can read and glean from the teaching on this. But I just wanted to kind of share that part to bring you to a conclusion so you will understand that the reason that the masters are giving us this teaching, they want you to understand that although we are walking with them, but we still have work to do. And not that we're, not swan, but we're swans in the making. Same as the swan that was walking and going along with the ducks, and he found out that, he was a beautiful swan. So, we have to come forth to that full flowering of our soul, that full guidance that God has given us as he's sharing with us as we go forth and we're dealing with our children and our families. Not only do we have the opportunity to be blessed to share with the families in and around, but get involved in your neighborhood. Get involved with all the children that don't have parents that need that guidance, that as you walk around, you're able to reach out and build them up, reach out and bring them up and go forward through that light. So in the name of Almighty Christ, we give thanks for thy presence, God. We give thanks for thy teaching, that you have raised us up and given us thy wisdom. Father, we thank thee for thy everlasting love, that you have guided each and every heart, that you have overshadowed us in this hour and given us this opportunity to receive of thy wisdom and of thy guidance. In the name of the Father, the Mother, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. In Jesus' name, amen.